You can't scare me, you slant-eyed yellow bastard!
ルートンから1年間通勤します。
No! No! No, please! Anything but that! No! No!
The Class 700, the Class 707070707 and the Class 717 are a family of 5, 6, 8, or 12 car-long bisexual electric multiple units, under the family name of the Desiro City. Built by the Germans as a sequel to the first batch of Desiro trains for the UK, the Desiro City was ordered in the turn of the 2010s as a high-capacity commuter train to help replace older multiple units running in the southeast of England, as well as to standardize the services on the Thameslink core. They can be seen serving places such as Cricklewood, Huntingdon, Haydons Road, Hatfield, Maze Hill, Rains Park, Bedford, Shepperton, Brighton, Letchworth, Staines, Clapham Junction, Cambridge, Finsbury Park, Denmark Hill, and even the likes of Gravesend, Rochester and Rainham for some stupid reason. Are these trains really the saviors begged for by the commuters of London to help save them from the rush hour crush? Or have they been nothing more than a waste of nearly £2 billion that totally should have not been invested onto the Chiltern main line? Let's find out. I'm just going to spoil you now. I really don't like these trains. So before you hear me moan for the next 4 hours, I feel like it would be better to get the things that I like about them out of the way first. Because much like CP Dust Bowl, there are aspects of it that I think are good ideas or work quite well as a whole. The first good thing about the Desiro City that I must give credit for was the total number of units that were ordered. Some individual in the Department of Transport with an IQ higher than a hairbrush understood that passengers had suffered for too long with the services on the Thameslink core. So for the fleet of Class 700s they were ordered as 55 12-car units and 68 car units. We are witnessing intelligent decision making here, ladies and gentlemen. Cherish it. No more 4-car Bedford to Brighton, more 4-car Sutton Loop services. Also having the same fleet for all services instead of a mix of 319s and Electrostars makes it less of a headache for the workers at the depot and those planning the timetables too, which is nice. As fun as it would be to speak more in depth about the Thameslink services in this video, it's a large topic that cannot just be added as a side note. Maybe we'll cover the mess of those services in the future. No promises. A unique thing about the Desiro City is how the train sounds totally different depending on if it is running on AC or DC modes. There's most likely a reason for this, but I'm too lazy to research into it, and besides, it's easier to just show you instead. If you are curious, I prefer the sound on AC mode compared to DC mode, but I still like the motor sound either way. Appearance wise, I think the Desiro City is a good looking train, and outside of the slacktivism liver is sponsored by Twitter, the liver as these units have appeared in look good overall. Nothing complex or over the top, just good. The way I like it. Blue being one of my favorite colors helps with that too, especially since blue is a creative color. Southeastern is probably my favorite livery applied to the Desiro City, though it would have been cool to see how they looked like in the new Southwestern Railway livery too. Oh well. The Desiro City is fast. The acceleration rate of these units seems to be around the 0.9 meters per second squared mark, which is really good honestly. The acceleration is slightly nerfed when the trains are running on DC mode compared to AC mode due to a significant power difference, but the trains can still reach their top speed of 100 miles per hour regardless. Now a top speed of 100 seems perfectly acceptable for these kind of trains, until you ask yourself this: why was the top speed for the Class 700 not increased to 110 miles per hour? Basic maths would seem to suggest that a saving of around 90 seconds would be achieved on the East Coast main line between Finsbury Park and Stevenage if the 700 was uprated to 110 miles per hour. A 10 miles per hour difference in speed may not seem significant, but remember how frequent trains end up being on the East Coast Main Line to deal with the bottlenecks near Welland North and Peterborough. This matter is made even more confusing when you remember that the Class 350, 360 and even the dreadful Class 387 have a top speed of 110 miles per hour for this very same reason. Do you want to reduce potential delays through Welland North's bottleneck or not? Well, considering the top speed remains at 100 to the date of making this video, I'll let you work that one out for yourself. Oh, I forgot to say that the 717 has a top speed of a weirdly specific 85 miles per hour for some stupid reason. I guess it's not tall enough for the 90 miles per hour club. So what are the Desiro cities like to ride on? I feel like 96% will already know what I'm going to say, so let's just ease into this very gently. In terms of the overall design of the interior layout itself, it's not too bad here on the 700. As always, 2+2 seating is a good start. It's a good color, and it feels spacious to walk through. It's quite fun to watch the train go around a curve and see the whole train bend in front of you like a snake. The toilets on board the 700 are pretty good. 3 toilets are provided in 8-car trains and 5 toilets are provided in a 12-car train. This is one lower than the equivalent Class 365 and Electro Stars, but they are better spaced throughout the train, so it works out a bit better. The disabled toilet is located in the center of the train with decently sized wheelchair spaces on either side. As you can tell by the graffiti, this train was running a service via Peckham Rye earlier that day. Both toilets are a good size and even the smaller toilet was big enough to have a baby changing board inside it too. Very nice. Okay, that's all the good things I can say. I apologize for the rage there, but goodness me, what the actual hell are these seats, and why are they being used on these trains? I've moaned about these ironing board seats that have the texture of reinforced concrete a few times already, and it's certainly something. When I say even a Strata has better seats than it, you don't even get charging points in standard and tables are only now being added, which is a joke and a half. Let's quickly move on before I strangle my monitor. Despite giving praise to the toilets on the 700, no toilets are provided on the 707, 0707 and the 717 because lol. They are supposedly justified by others on the pretense of saving interior space and that they run on short journeys. Well, the London to Stevenage, Windsor and Weybridge services are more than an hour long, so that throws journey time out of the window. And if they really wanted to save interior space, then why not do what TfL did with the 378 and 710 by making the seating longitudinal? I'd still complain about it, since I cannot stand longitudinal seating in general, but at least the reasoning would make sense. Something cognitive dissonance. First class on the 700 makes absolutely no sense. Now sure, you actually get tables, charging points and bigger seats that are a tiny bit more bearable here, but that's really all you get. Even the door separating first and standard has a panel gap big enough to easily stick your penis in. Don't do that though. It's so pointless that it's regularly partly or entirely declassified on some services. It also takes up more than half of both driving coaches, just to make things worse. First class on Thameslink trains is as dumb as putting first class on the 285 to Kingston, or the 10A for any of my viewers residing in Liverpool. By the way, why does this single bus route use 2 operators? Whatever. The 717 is a bit better in this sense. Not only do you actually get 3-point charging sockets between the seats, but instead of first class, a large area for storing bicycles, luggage, or boxes of illegal substances is provided. 4 tip-up seats are here too, which are possibly more comfortable than the typical seating. No tables behind the seats here either, but it's one step in the right direction. Somewhat. The 7070707 has charging points too. Just saying. Another thing worth mentioning is that the automated announcements on board the 700 and 717 are brought to you not only by Julie Berry, but also by our totally favorite Mr. Jeff of Marshall. I would make fun of him for doing this, or make another joke, but ask yourself this: what's more sad? Getting paid to make announcements on Thameslink or actually riding on Thameslink just to hear them? Yeah, I thought so too. At least the manual announcements on the 70700707 don't have any sort of feedback issues. The Desiro City is one of a few trains that I have been in the cab of. Compared to the Jupiter and the Class 455, the cab of the Desiro City is 9001 times better. You sit right in the center with a wide cab window with the controls being an arm's reach away and are easy to access. As a bonus, I will cheekily show that you can view the onboard CCTV screens from the cab, and you can use this to spy on potential lesbians getting it on together on the Hounslow Loop. I'm not judging or anything, but a free show is a free show. This cab does not apply to the 717, which is instead forced to have a post-box styled cab instead. This is due to the requirement of an emergency exit needed on the front of the trains as they run on the Moorgate branch with those narrow tunnels. Now talking about the future of these trains is a bit tricky, since the 700s are still new. Well, I say that, but they've been in service for the past 6 years now. So we'll skip talking about the 700 and in turn the 717's future. However, we can still talk about the future of the 707070707, which can be best described as, oh dear. Southwestern Railway has developed a Cambridge University approved plan to utilize the 707s to the best of their ability during the ongoing delays to the 701. This plan has consisted of the following steps. 1. Get rid of all the Class 456s and sacrifice them to the scrap god. 2. Begin scrapping and storing 8 of their precious and limited number of Class 455 units. Finally, step 3. Start sending the 707070707s to Southeastern, so they have even less trains to use for their not at all busy suburban network.
What?
This has resulted in corporate meetings at Southwestern Railway all playing out the same way.
Fuck.
At the date of the making of this video, 2/3 of the units are in operation with Southeastern, where they see use on the Dartford, Gravesend, Sevenoaks and Hayes services, replacing the 465-2, and placing said trains in the forever box, which is honestly stupid. Charging points are nice, but toilets are nicer, and the 465s were only recently refurbished for PRM compliance too. Southeastern's excuse of using the 376s on the same services just screams laziness if anything. If only they had a spare £25 million of taxpayers' money to fund this. Also, please pay no attention to the recently announced tender Southeastern made in regards to new trains. Conclusion. If it weren't for the existence of the IET, then the Desiro City would easily be one of my least favorite trains to ride on in the UK. Despite some sensible design decisions with the 8 and 12 car formations and toilet placements where applicable, the trains feel like they were in part designed by stakeholders who live anywhere but the Thameslink route and will never have to experience the consequences of their actions. There's no reason why the 700 should lack PowerPoints, tables or have uncomfortable seats, then put said trains on stupidly long journeys that are easily prone to delays. The 7070707s and 717s should have been future-proofed better with toilets, better seating, and in the case of the former, shouldn't have moved an inch away from the southwestern region. At least not until the 701s are ready, but that's not happening anytime soon. Now the real question people will be asking is if I think these trains are better or worse than what they have replaced, to which I respond with it depends. For example, the Jupiter and the Class 365 have better seats and air conditioning, but the 319s don't have aircon and the seats are a bit low. A new train should be either better than or equal to whatever it is replacing, and if basic facilities and comfort are going to be sacrificed for no explainable reason outside of money, then please reconsider the pricing of your services, so I can lower my muddy bar of standards I have for you. And whilst you're at it, ask yourselves if direct trains from Horsham to Peterborough are really that necessary, especially when services starting from King's Cross was fine enough in the past. Now you know my thoughts on the Desiro City. Go out there and remember that every time you give any form of praise to the seating of these trains, Abu Hamza will brutally attack the nearest British stoat in his vicinity. Think of the poor stoats, you evil person. They don't deserve that.